them ghosts. All from the Hey, this just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmetto Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcon. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewood got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And kinda got flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the football. This for the football. This for the football.
All right, everybody. Welcome back here to the Crow's Nest. My name is Sam Torres. This is ysnlive.com. You are watching the 440 Sports Show. I want to get out ahead of this one. I'm already seeing some issues with the streams to Facebook. Very big possibility that we're not going to be on Facebook tonight. It may only be on YouTube. You don't have to worry about that. If it is, we will upload it to Facebook. Over the last couple weeks, we've had some issues with our streaming software and the communication between the two. So between the issues with Facebook, if you've got Verizon, you're probably not even getting service today. It's been a weird Monday, but we will continue to go just like we do every week. My name is Sam Torres, and we are here live at the Crow's Nest. I want to take this time, as always, to send a big shout out to Dan Sposito and Sposito Insurance for sponsoring this show, making it on site every single week here at the beautiful Crow's Nest. If you want great wings, you want great steak, you want great food in general, come down here to the Crow's Nest. Tonight they've got tomato soup, chili, eggplant, Neapolitan, whatever you want, they can cook it, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So again, thank you to the Sposito family. Thank you to the Detour family. And thank you to all this great staff right here at the Crow's Nest. It's really an awesome place to come. It's not hard to find. Get on Route 11 and drive until you're almost in the lake. You're going to stop and hit Crow's Nest before you get going anywhere else. Moving right along here, though, this week we're going to start like we do every single week with our player of the week. And it is a third week in a row. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jefferson Falcons have been, if they were in Vegas, you'd call it a heater. These boys have went out there and gotten it done week after week after week after a tough start to the season. They've got it going, and this last week, 50-0 as they head over to the homecoming game in Conneaut and shut the shop down. Our player of the week this week is going to be the junior, and I'm going to make a very, very cognitive effort to call him the right name the entire show, but I got to give you guys a little heads up here. I have been calling him by his father's name because I knew him before I knew the kid. His name is Matthew, not Josh. Bring it on over here, Matthew Webster, joining us tonight. Junior Falcon, the running back who goes 15 carries, 160 yards, 3 Tud Rockets, 6.5 tackles. What were you not doing in that game?
I wouldn't say anything. I got pulled out third quarter, and then I was on the sideline, but that was about
it. So, you went out there, and I got to tell you, I don't know if you had a chance to go back and rewatch that game and the broadcast. And shout out to our friends over at WOW TV who have partnered up with us here at YSN Live for providing that broadcast. But on multiple occasions during the game, the announcers described you as the hardest downhill runner that they had seen up to this point this year. Man, that's got to feel good as a running back, especially in a pass-heavy offense.
Yeah, definitely does.
So let's talk a little bit about this offense in particular. So you come in this year. This is your second year as a starting running back, correct?
Yeah.
So you came into this year. Last year you were definitely kind of the battering ram, the truck, the bulldozer, whatever you want to call it. You took on a different sport in the offseason this year. What was that sport?
Track.
Yeah. So you went out there and you ran some track this year and, running the 100, 200 or whatever they could, I always say, sucker you into running. How do you think that helped you coming into this year? Because I got to be honest with you, Matthew, this year you're moving very, very quickly. A couple broken tackles and you're taking it to the house.
Yep. I definitely think it helped with my footwork, and then they also had me throwing, which I think helped on footwork too because there's a lot of technique there, but definitely helped me get my speed up from the footwork.
Yeah, and listen, you talk about the footwork, and let's talk about that throwing. So, for those of you who had a chance to come to this year's combine, you're looking at the reigning, defending bench press champion right here. As you went out there this year, 29 reps. I know you said your eye was on that
30.
that 30, which is the record right now currently held. And luckily for you, you get to go at it again. Let's talk a little bit about that gym time and what seems to be such a huge part of Jefferson football and spending that much time in the gym.
Definitely in the weight room all year long. We probably get a month off during the winter, and then we're all back in there again grinding. Workouts are pretty simple, but at the end, Coach Hannah burned us out, and you definitely see a lot of improvement from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because through talking to Coach Hannah, they have you guys have kind of a standard workout that is expected, but he likes to kind of tailor maybe some of the rep expectations and the weight expectations based on the player in itself. Do you think that that's helped you in as a player of him? Maybe expecting a little bit more out of old Webby, as they affectionately call him.
I mean, during this winter, he was lifting with us most of the time, like in our group, and he always had me pushing, and I'd push him too. I kept putting more weight on for him, and he kept putting more weight on for me.
So you try to get in a competition with the coach then?
Yeah.
I love it. I love to see it. Let's talk a little bit about kind of the culture that goes on over there at Jefferson, because I think it's very intriguing. You guys spend a lot of time outside of the football field, outside of the gym together. Whether it's traveling to 7-on-7s, doing these team events, that sort of thing. Talk a little bit about the culture and what the expectations are if you're going to play Jefferson Falcon football.
I mean, we preach family, and during the off season, we went to round one. I mean, it's just to have fun, but it really pulls us together in the end. And then we go to those 7-on-7s all year long, and that really helps us. Just the quarterbacks and the receivers work. And then the linemen, they do the lineman challenge, and we're all there cheering for them.
Yes, you
and
guys are.
Really, it connects us. It all pays off in the end.
So you guys went to round one. Did you guys get any bowling done?
Yeah.
Who's the best bowler on the team? I got to know.
Probably our I'm not even sure what he coaches anymore. He's our defensive coordinator, Melvin Leith.
Oh, Melvin.
Yeah, he's pretty good. You wouldn't expect it, but he's good.
So Coach Melvin is out there, not even Coach Hannah. And, that's surprising because I don't think Coach Hannah wants to lose at anything.
Yeah, he didn't lose. We did coaches versus players, and the coaches won. We're back at it next year, though.
Who's the best bowler on the team when you guys went?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, I feel like I should have been up there, but I got knocked off round like 2.
You love to see that, though. It's those type of events that I think it really does a great job of bringing you guys together. Especially you're coming into this junior year, and you were a big part in last year where it was by all everything a rebuild, right? You guys are coming off of the most successful team in Jefferson history, the most successful team in modern memory in that regional state championship. And then last year, you guys really took some bumps and bruises. But one thing that didn't change was your unwavering trying and continuing to try and get better every week. And that's one of the things, there's a couple guys on your team that stuck out for me, whether it was you, Dylan, Cage, coming back and making Devin Salinas as well. But, coming back, how was it trying to get through that year and get this year started?
It was definitely hard because, I mean, everyone's talking about how we've lost 14 games in a row, which, I mean, I think we did a very good job sticking together through it. And, I mean, working through it, no one quit. We actually gained players during that time that wanted to be a part of us. And we're definitely rebuilding the culture at Jefferson.
So let's talk a little bit more about that culture. You know, you're a junior this year, and you come in as a freshman. You came into this monster team as a freshman
Yeah.
and sophomore year. So I always say, you know, freshman year you're trying to kind of establish yourself. Sophomore year, really working on what you did. Junior year is when you really kind of have to take what you are and make it a part of the team. What were some of the changes for you coming into this junior year?
Uh, I mean, last year we didn't really have any leaders. I want to say there was few, but I mean they're all gone now.
Yeah.
So we had to, I mean, pick it up everywhere. So I mean, Cage, he's doing really good at leading right now and keeping us together. I'm trying to lead as best as I can, and I mean Dylan's doing a great job leading the offense. And that's it.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, I can't lie with that. You know, we're going to go over the statistical leaders later on in the show, and all those guys are going to be talked about again here. You know, what are some of the things you try to do as a leader to make it? Is it showing up to practice? Is it going hard every single rep? What are some of the things you're trying to do for maybe some of the younger guys? Because you guys have quite a few. You guys have some freshmen and some sophomores that are really learning from you guys. What are some things that Webby wants to make sure these kids are trying to emulate?
Definitely not slacking off and showing up to every practice, giving your all in the weight room. I mean, when you're in there as a freshman and sophomore and you see the juniors and seniors working out in there, giving their all, it makes you want to push. And on the field, I mean, energy. You give a lot of energy, and it makes the practice easier, better. And I mean, yeah, that's it.
Well, I'll tell
Yeah.
you what, man. You know, they say iron sharpens iron. So
Mhm.
if you're at your peak, you require them to be at their peak. Everybody's going to get better, right? You know, you are a student athlete. So let's talk a little bit about school. And you know, what are some of the things you like in school? Give me a subject or something in general.
I'd probably say math class.
Math.
Yeah, I like
Now
math.
you don't see that a whole lot out here. Math. I'm not that guy. I'm an English guy. But math, we got ourselves a math guy. So you like math, huh?
Yeah, I think I have like 103 in the class right now.
Well, listen, Coach Hannah, you may have to put Webby in charge of the stats then if he's a math guy.
And I'm doing my own. So then we got Johnny.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no problem with that at all. So, you know, you're playing offense and defense. You know, you're the starting running back, and you're the starting linebacker. Before we dive into the defensive side of things, let's talk a little bit about you being a running back in this pass-heavy team. You guys spend a lot of time at these 7-on-7s. You guys travel all over the place. Sometimes it's hard to kind of get up and get pumped up for those things because as a running back, you know, you're catching flares or the occasional wheel route. You know what I mean? How do you get pumped up for that, and do you think it helps you?
Definitely helps me. Coach Hannah, I mean, works me in at like slot, and just knowing how to run routes really helps you on defense. Because I mean, you know where the hook to curl window is, and you know where the route's gonna go. If someone goes in, someone's going out. Just simple stuff. And then as a running back, I mean, just I don't know, just watching it all happen, it all helps.
Yeah, you know, that's an interesting take on that. That's a really interesting take on that. I've asked a lot of kids, you know, all the way up to this show, you know, for years about that, you know, receiving and how it helps you. And not a lot of people have talked about that, how running those routes as a receiver kind of shows you where the spacing is going to be. And you as a linebacker who, you know, has made a huge impact on this team, you know, 6.5 tackles in that game against Conneaut. And we're still waiting on the grand totals.
Yeah.
We'll get some more totals probably by the end of the week. But, you know, talk about that defensive side, because that's another place where you've really embraced, and you're the middleman. So you're the one who's going to get all that action.
Yep. We got Riffle. He's definitely, I mean, he's first year kid, not counting his middle school.
Yeah.
He's really good. He's been flying downhill and he's been cracking everything. And then I like going off the edge or even going down on the D line because, I mean, less thinking about it and you can just rush back there to the quarterback.
Listen, take a little bit off my plate and I can make more happen, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you talk about another younger guy in Michael Riffle,
Mhm.
you know, he's coming out of baseball. A big time baseball guy who's made a big difference out there. So you two in the middle, and actually he's getting some time in the backfield with you as well,
Yeah.
splitting that time with guys like Joel Navarro, who's also splitting out at the, you know, receiver and that sort of thing. You guys really do have quite a few athletes on there. You guys just had kind of a bear to start this year.
Yeah, we did. Definitely had some hard games our first four.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that Orange game. You know, you guys go into Orange, you're 0-4, they're 4-0. this is a team that everybody's super high on. This is a team, Jefferson was a team that I think everybody was waiting for you guys to get going. What was it like getting into that game and playing in that one?
I mean, I think we deserved it all. We had a very good week of practice that week, and I mean, I don't know. We all wanted to win. It brought us closer. Winning made us more of a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like all that work has, it's not that it's not for something, but it feels a little bit better when you're getting it at the end there.
Yeah, we like to say that we were due.
Yeah, you were due. You were absolutely due. Anything in that game, any particular play, any moments that stick out, or is it just when the clocks finally said 0 and you guys got to go home with the dub?
I mean, it was definitely back and forth all game. We'd score, they'd score, we'd get a stop, they'd get a stop. But, I mean, at the end of the day, we won the game, and, I mean, we played our butts off.
Yeah, and, you go on the next week, you guys take on Conneaut, and as impressive as 50 points is, and it is very impressive, 0 points is probably more impressive. Talk about from the defensive side of the ball, what were you seeing? How much were you in the zone?
I mean, we were all locked in. We were breaking down on Donut. We did not want to give up any points that game.
I'll tell you what, you absolutely love to hear it. That's, you guys played like guys with your hair on fire and on the road. So, you guys have a pretty big one coming up this week against Lakeside. And this is a renewed rivalry, back from the old NEC days, which is that's my era. Yep. This Jefferson Lakeside game used to be a big one. What are some of the things that you, Matthew Webster, Webby, that you got to get done on Friday night for you guys to get another dub?
I mean, I'm going to block. I'm going to try to make as many tackles as I can, and I'm going to run the ball as hard as I can the whole entire game. Whether it's up the gut, outside, and I'm going to give it my all.
Listen, if that's what you got to do and you get that done, I think you guys are going to be very, very successful. It's a game that I'm really, really looking forward to seeing. And for those of you who aren't going to be able to get to the stadium, you're going to be able to find that right here on ysnlive.com. It's going to be a phenomenal, phenomenal game, not one to be missed. I'll tell you what, the final question I'll ask you before you go, and I didn't prep you on this. This is my bad, but this is a softball. When Webby and the Falcons take the field, what can we look forward to seeing for the rest of the year?
Hopefully hard hitting. I mean, definitely we need to fly downhill and make tackles, interceptions. We need more turnovers on defense for sure.
All right, man, you set the bar. You said it from your lips to God's ears, and we'll see if you guys can't get through it. I'll tell you what, if you guys keep working the way you do, the sky is the limit. Playoffs still very, very much alive in Jefferson Falcon country. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming on this show. This week's Week 6 Player of the Week, it's Matthew Webster, affectionately known as Webby. He's our man of the hour. Good job.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
The feeling when my hands are on the piano, it's become comforting. It's somewhere that I can express myself. I go to Youngstown State University and my passion is playing music. YSU is allowing me to take what I love and turn it into a career and do it every single day of my life. I'm Alyssa, and I'm YN proud.
My guy keeps it 100% of the time. He wants all 100, won't settle for 99. And it's more than stats, because there's people in those numbers. And I was one of the lost sheep. I'm so glad he cares for all 100. I'm 100% safe, 100% free, 100% love. I can be 100% me. He gave all 100 when they put him up on that tree. That's 100% passion for 100% free. So if I play in front of 100, or if I play in front of 2, there's an audience of 1 getting 100% of what I can do.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
Sheely's is more than a furniture store. We're a hub for all of your appliance needs. We offer the widest selection at everyday low prices, with over $1 million of in-stock inventory from Whirlpool, KitchenAid, LG, GE, and more. Our knowledgeable, no-pressure sales staff can help you find the perfect appliances for your home. We're there for you beyond your purchase to service what we sell and offer free local delivery with 24-month special financing. Sheely's, the best things in life happen at home.
House troubles can attack anytime. When trouble strikes, call Mighty Mike. Your hometown hero is on his way. HVAC causing havoc? Has your furnace gone mad? Mighty Mike Heating and Cooling will save the day. Commercial or residential, 24/7. For quality service you can depend on, call your hometown hero. Call Mighty Mike.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique.
All right, everybody, we are back again. I want to send some apologies out first before we get going too far. It looks like there is a issue with this communication over to Facebook. It's not just the 440 Sports page. It's not working over on YSN Live either. But you can see it on YouTube. It's on both the Facebook Live or the YouTube channel for YSN as well as the 440 Sports page. And it is also always going to be on ysnlive.com. So if you ever can't find the show on the social media push, you can find it right there on YSN Live. We will download this and republish it to Facebook later this evening. It's been something we've had some issues over the last couple weeks with our streaming software and getting it over to Facebook, which explains why some of these live, the Facebook Live in particular, are not going off the way that they should be going off, and it's staying live for hours and hours after the show is over. It's something we're actively working through. It's kind of out of our hands. We use the same StreamYard streaming service that most podcasts use, and this is a bug that they're aware, and we are patiently awaiting. But guess what, folks? We're still bringing you the show. It's always going to be available on YouTube and always going to be available on ysnlive.com. Once again, my name is Sam Torres. Thanks for joining us here. We are live at the Crow's Nest, an absolutely phenomenal restaurant right here in Ashtabula, Ohio. Come down here again, chicken tomato soup, chili, eggplant Neapolitan, hummus plate with pita bread. The strombolis are phenomenal. If you like the shrimp, they got 12-piece shrimp with fries and the 16-ounce pork steak. All available tonight right here at this Crow's Nest. I know it's one of my favorite parts of my Monday evening is getting some of this delicious food. We're going to get into some of our statistical leaders this week. We're still awaiting defensive stats on a lot of different players in the county. So we do have a tackle count right now. This is something that could change and will most likely be updated by the official release on Thursday morning. But before we get going anywhere else, let's talk about our stats. All right, everybody, we're going to start as we always do with the passing leaders this week in Ashtabula. These are the YSN school statistical leaders here in the county. If you're not on here, it's because we don't have you signed. If you want to be signed, it's as simple as a phone call, a text message, reach out to any of our social medias. We'd love to get you on here. Sign up with YSN, who is your true home for high school sports. We are live, we are local, we are loyal at all times. Our leader this week is our leader for the last 3 weeks in a row. It's Jefferson's Dylan Burlingham. He has 1,167 yards through just 6 weeks of football play this week. 10 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions for that young man. He is having himself a year. Already early on, I'll tell you what, he's put on a lot here in the last couple weeks. You talk about the 50-0 win over Conneaut, 50-42 win over Orange. This is a team that is scoring in bunches and largely in part to our week 3 player of the week, Dylan Burlingham. He has been an absolute phenomenal player for this Jefferson Falcons offense. Coming in second this week is going to be Omar Ambris with 642 yards. 8 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Had a much rougher week last week than he would have liked, but he's still maintaining, getting some yards in the air. Lakeside ran into a very good team in Madison. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Madison Blue Streaks were a favorite along with Geneva to win the CVC Lake Division, and they have lived up to that hype. They've got a very, very good quarterback, a great receiving core, but they're also very good at running the ball, and that's what Madison does well. Coming in here in third place is Colby Stiltner out of Conneaut. He's got 600 yards, 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and that's the one number that he would like to flip-flop as a couple of those passes have gotten away from him. Nate Stewart over at Edgewood, 577, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions for him. Grand Valley's Sammy Goforth with 372 yards. He's got 3 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Grand Valley is a team that is very much trying to run the ball this year. They've instituted that wing T style offense. This is a rush heavy offense. So when he is passing, it's typically, the tight end pop passes and things like that. But he's finding his way. A couple of them have gotten away from him, but Grand Valley's Sammy Goforth with 372. Vin Narducci comes in this week with 290 yards passing, 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions. It's been a tougher start to the year than I think that he would have thought and what most people would have thought. But it's been a style change is what you're seeing over at the St. John football team. It's 3 guys with 300 yards rushing this year, including Narducci. You've got Narducci with 300. Ryan Williams has 300. You've got Will Anderson with 300. They've got a couple other guys who are being included in this rushing game. This is a team that has kind of changed their thought process and how they're going to attack on the offensive side of the ball. And while they haven't won the game, some of these games that they want to, this is a team that is outside of the PV game been in every single game they've played this year. You're talking about some heartbreaking losses, including a loss to Steubenville Catholic with 6 seconds left. With that final going 13-6, it was a defense that has, really stood out and an offense that was finding some success in the run game, just not enough to get the points that they're looking for. And then finally, we've got Ryan Croston, who comes in last place this week with 274. He's got 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, but you're going to see why he sits in last place as we go to our next slide. And that's because he stands at the top of the leaderboard when it comes to rushing. Ryan Croston with PV, he's part of an incredible 2-headed monster in that backfield. 840 yards for him, 7 rushing touchdowns for Croston this year. Ty Vickery standing there with 711 yards, 9 rushing touchdowns. Those 2 guys accounting for almost 2,000 yards. I mean, well over 1,500 yards in rushing just amongst those 2. They run the ball well. That's what PV does, and nothing is going to change. If you can stop it, you can stop them. But the thing is most teams cannot stop what PV is trying to get done. And an interesting thing or an interesting look was if you watched them against St. John this week, they threw the ball a lot more often. Now, granted, they had jumped ahead early in the game. It was right around 21 points that they were up. And then they started passing the ball a little bit more. And another interesting tidbit about this Pymatuning Valley team is the fact that they're kicking extra points. Now, this is a team that has been exclusively 2-point conversions for the past 3 years. They have found their extra point kicker, and we saw in the playoffs where that played such a huge part. This year, PV, I'll tell you what, you better keep your eyes on them. The Lakers are the real deal Holyfield. Conneaut's Isaiah Bowles comes in next, 96 yards or 96 carries for 561 yards. He's got 3 touchdowns. Grand Valley's Andrew Soltis, I told you that it's a much more run-heavy offense, and he's reaping the benefits. 555 yards for him, 7 touchdowns. Matthew Webster, Webby as they call him, comes in next with 471 yards. He's got 7 touchdowns of his own. And this, again, all of those yards very much earned, all of those touchdowns very hard to come by because this is a team that likes to throw the ball. When you've got receivers like Terry Brown, Cage Bozar, Devin Salinas, Joel Navarro, you've got 4 different options that you can throw to downfield. And once you put your eyes on them, Webby's going to bring it, run it right down your throat. He went over, a couple runs over 40 yards against Conneaut. This is a running game that is developing, and it's somebody you got to pay attention to. J. Anthony Williams, 45 carries. He's got 358 yards, 2 touchdowns for the Lakeside Dragons. And Ryan Williams, who is leading the pack for the St. John Heralds, 324 yards for him, 4 touchdowns. And then Lakeside's Devin Miller with 303 yards and 2 touchdowns. We'll talk a little bit more on Wednesday when we have our Live from Los Compadres show, the Lake Show. With Terry Henton. We'll talk a little bit more on Wednesday about that 3-headed monster in the backfield that they've got over there at Lakeside. They've got 3 different guys who can all do a different style of running, but it's always effective, and where Lakeside's offense has been this year. Your receiving leaders this week, and this one is another one. It's no surprise. He's been leading the pack for the past 3 weeks. It's Cage Bozar with 607 yards and 8 touchdowns. This senior Falcon has been on fire. He has taken flight, and there are no signs that he is stopping anytime soon. This is a kid who can make even a screen pass go off for a big one, and that's where he's finding a lot of his work. Now, granted, he can run the flag route, he can run the post route. If you hit him in stride, you're not going to catch up to him, but it's his ability to break tackles underneath that has really kind of separated him from the pack this year. Coming behind him is Ryan Turner from Conneaut. Again, I talk about it every week because it's such an impressive story. Ryan Turner, who starts off the year as a right guard, gets bumped out to the tight end position. Now he's got 31 receptions, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns, helping along Colby Stiltner, who's the first-year starting quarterback for the Spartans. Turner has been impressive all year. Devin Salinas over at Jefferson, 23 yards, 23 recs, 311 yards, 2 touchdowns. J. Anthony Williams, 11 receptions, 239 yards with 2 touchdowns, leading them in receiving yards as well. Ben Schwartfigure, 14 grabs for 238 yards. He's got 3 touchdowns for the Edgewood Warriors. Terry Brown, 14 receptions. He's got 237 yards and 1 touchdown for him. And then Lakeside's Devin Miller with 13 receptions, 220 yards and 3 touchdowns. Coming up next, we'll talk about our tackle leaders. Again, we will release our tackle leaders as it stands tonight. These numbers can change by the time the official release happens on Thursday as we gather more information. I can only give you guys the information I have. I don't hand write down all these stats, believe it or not. I'm very heavily reliant on these programs to give me the numbers. So as it stands right now, your tackle leader is Edgewood's Denver Kessler with 52. Josh Sabo comes in second from Conneaut with 49, and then it's Lakeside's Tyree Anderson with 45.5. Ryan Turner from Conneaut, 45.5. He's tied with Tyree Anderson. And then it's J. Anthony Williams coming in with 44. Michael Ochoa from Edgewood with 43, and then Grand Valley's Andrew Soltis, 42.5, not only leading the rushing game for the Mustangs, he's also leading on the tackle side. Will Anderson from St. John comes in next with 42, and right behind him, another Herald in Ryan Croston with 41. And then leading or ending out the list is going to be Grayson Petros from St. John with 39.5. And one of the most impressive portions of that total tackle number, which we'll explain here at the end, is Grayson Petros gets a huge boast. He's got 11 tackles for loss on the year. He is leading tackles for loss category by like 7 or 8 so far this year. He's been a wrecking crew coming off the edge for the Heralds this year, and it's been impressive to watch. I'll take this time and I'll go ahead and I'll explain as I always do. We got some comments, people watching on on YouTube. Anyway, the tackle numbers are decided. You get 1 point for a solo tackle. You get half of a point for an assist on a tackle. You get 1 point for a sack, 1 point for a TFL. This is where the numbers kind of get spread out because there are some places where an assist counts as a full point. So that's why some kids will go from like 67 tackles all the way down to like 39, because if you have 39 assists don't count as a full point in the total tackle. So that's a big reason why there's such a big difference. Everybody gets run through the exact same ringer. Everybody gets run through the exact same algorithm. The math is the math. The science is the science. That's the standard, and that's where we come up with the numbers. So if the numbers are a little bit different than what you're seeing, that's where it is. Everybody's kind of on an even playing field, because if we allowed everybody to do it differently, there's no way to kind of accurately or fairly compare the numbers to each other. Let's talk about some of our games from last week here in week 6. And, it's been an up and down year, I think, for county football as a whole. I think there are some disappointing losses that we've seen early on. There are some big-time wins. There are some people that are doing exactly what you thought they were going to do. And as we are now just past the halfway point through, we're talking about playoffs. Playoffs is still very much alive for a couple teams here in the county, but playoffs is off the table for others. So now they have to kind of switch their focus from playing in week 11 to making sure that they can be competitive and potentially winning a conference. And that's where their season is going to be. It's been an interesting year, to say the least. You got Lakeside, who goes out. They fall to the Madison Blue Streaks. Madison comes into this one 3-2. They're now 4-2. 42-6 is the final in that one. We will talk about this game in a lot more depth on Wednesday when we're live from Los Compadres, when we're on the Lake Show talking with Coach Terry Henton. Turnovers is a big one. That is one of the bugs that bit Lakeside in this game. And at the end of the day, that's really where I think the difference was set up. Edgewood 48-0 is the final in that one against Geneva. Geneva is a locomotive. It is a steam train. It is a bus. Geneva is doing what they do best, week in, week out. You take away their one loss to Perry. Geneva has not looked uncomfortable in a single game this year. Even going all the way down to Springfield, when they go down there and get that done. At the end of that game, Geneva still looked very much comfortable in playing their game. They're going to run the ball. They're going to run it well. Luke Barbeau is a stud. Bryce Pete is a stud. Hayden Deemer is a stud. They've got a lot of talent on that team, and this is a team I think you're going to be seeing playing for the next at least 2-3 weeks into the playoffs. Obviously not a YSN school, which is why you don't see those kids' names on here. It's a shame. It's something that I wish were different. I hope that one day it does change. That's usually as simple as just a simple call to YSN, sign the media contract. We'd love to talk about your kids. We'd love to talk about this magical season that you guys are working on. Unfortunately, at this time, we can't. I will give the flowers anytime I can, but that's why we haven't had as much Geneva coverage this year. And I know that's not something that's new to anybody. Jefferson goes out there 50-0. They beat Conneaut. And this is a Jefferson Falcons offense that has awoke. These kids are out. They're ready to play. They have dangerous weapons. They've got four guys on the receiving side that all four of them can make a big play. They've got a quarterback that is feeling himself. He is believing in himself. He trusts his arm. He trusts his coach. He trusts his players, and he trusts his team to make the plays. He is not afraid to throw the ball, and that's what you're seeing out there. 10 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. He hasn't been wrong very often. You saw Dylan Burlingham go out there, and it was a show on Friday night. It was a fun show to watch if you were a Falcon fan. These guys went out there and got it done. And the moment you overcover the passing, Matthew Webby is going to run off. He was a downhill runner, 20, 30 yards every time he was touching the rock. It was really, really impressive to watch this Jefferson team go out there and win. St. John and Pymatuning Valley. St. John 0, Pymatuning Valley 40. This one was a tough one for the Heralds. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. PV I talked about Geneva being a locomotive. PV is right there along with them. These are guys, Ryan Croston, Ty Vickery. These kids get it done every week that they're on the field. You know who's getting the ball. You know where they're going with the ball. It's up to you to stop it. They've got offensive linemen like John Finello who go out and steal a block. You only have to miss one tackle on Ryan Croston. He's going to make you pay for it into the end zone. Ty Vickery, if he gets a lane in the middle, he's breaking at least one tackle. He's going to take it to the house. That's what we saw in this game against the St. John Heralds. It was just a defense that was struggling to keep up with an absolutely monstrous offense. And I don't think there's any signs of this PV team stopping. It is setting up for what I think in the NAC is going to potentially be the game of the year. When they take on Wyndham, who is currently 6-0, that is one you're not going to want to miss, and you don't have to, because, again, it's right here on ysnlive.com. Grand Valley falls to Fairport 14-43. Grand Valley, they've hit some stumbles, hit some hurdles throughout this year. They've had some games where they've been very, very close in the ball game. And this was one where Fairport just flat out got away from them. Fairport was coming off of a tough loss to Steubenville Catholic, where Catholic puts on 32 points on them. And I think they were fired up in this game, and Grand Valley kind of had to deal with their frustrations. And then you talk about Perry. The Perry Pirates go out 41-14, a win over Lutheran West. Walter Moses, who just had a player profile on ysnlive.com. Make sure you go out and check that out. This kid is phenomenal. He's a phenomenal football player. This is a kid who's already committed to play football as a quarterback for the University of Toledo. This is a D1 kid with D1 talent, and he shows it every single week with this Pirates team. I think that double or triple overtime loss to Kirtland was a eye-opener. It was something that woke up this Perry Pirates team. And I don't know that they're going to lose for the rest of the year. It's a very tough conference, I can tell you that. In that Division IV, in their own region, you have to get through Lake Catholic. You have to get through Glenville. But Perry is very much up for the challenge. And don't get me wrong, this Glenville team may be better than people even thought they were. This is a Glenville team that just beat St. Ed's last week. But I think Perry's up for it. They're ready for the challenge. And I'm really, really excited to see where this Perry Pirates story is going to end this year. That was the games for last week. Let's talk about some of the games coming up this week. Big one, the biggest one I think in the county this week may be Lakeside and Jefferson. You got a 1-5 Lakeside against a 2-4 Jefferson. Jefferson is red hot. They are flying high. This is a Falcons team that their offense has been absolutely on fire. This is a Lakeside team that their offense has found ways to score. Defense has struggled. But this is a rivalry. This is a renewed rivalry. If you watched football or were around football in the early 2000s, Lakeside and Jefferson were like the Hatfields and the McCoys. They didn't like each other. They wanted to get into it. Every game was a big one. They're trying to get that renewed as we're back in that CVC Lake. You don't want to miss it, and you don't have to. Again, right here on YSN Live. Edgewood playing Madison on Friday. this is a tough one for Edgewood. You know, they go from Geneva to Madison. You go against one favorite to the next. Madison went out there 42 points on Lakeside. They're flying high. They've got a very, very talented quarterback. But Edgewood, you know, they've made some tweaks to the way this team is going to play. You may see some different personnel. You may see some different looks. You may see a different approach. I think this is a beatable Madison team if, as far as Edgewood's concerned. It's going to be a good game. You don't have to miss it. Larry Jennings will be on that call. Conneaut, they definitely have the toughest of all the games this week, where they're going to go against a Geneva team at Geneva on their homecoming. And Geneva is red hot. You know, you look for some of those games that you can circle and, you know, on a season where maybe it didn't go as well as you wanted to. If you're the Conneaut Spartans, this is the one. If you can get one over on a Geneva team that is unstoppable, as unstoppable as they come, that's something that, you know, you can keep and makes the season a win. On the Geneva side of things, I think Geneva's just looking to get done what they want to do. You're going to see a lot of Barbo. You're going to see Bryce Pete, and you're going to see Deemer get their work on. St. John is taking on a 6-0 Wyndham team. Wyndham has a phenomenal player by the name of Jack Eye. You don't want to miss this game. I think St. John is going to come. This is a 2:00 Saturday game, so I'll be on the call for this one as well. This is a game I think that St. John is looking at. They realize that if there's a way to turn their season around, it starts right here in the NAC. The passing game is something that I'm interested to see where it's going to go. I think they have a very talented quarterback in Vin Narducci. I'm really excited to see what happens when he starts to get back into his groove to this very, very talented wide receiving core. They've got a rushing game that is legitimate. While their offense is going to be what talks, it's their defense is going to be the one that's going to be making a difference in this. Who can stop Eye on this Herald's defense? I think you're going to be looking at guys like Ryan Williams, Grayson Petros, Will Anderson, to make big plays and get Eye before he can get past them. And if they can get that done, they're very much in that ball game. Grand Valley and Matthews, they play this week. They're going to Matthews. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm telling you right now, I think this is it. This is the week. This is the week. This is where the Mustangs grab their first W. I think these are two very evenly matched teams. I think Grand Valley is incredibly hungry. They're ready to get a win, and it's going to happen this week. Pymatuning Valley versus Fairport. Fairport quietly right there in the mix at 3-2, but PV it's homecoming for PV. Look for the Lakers to go big time in this one. And then Perry versus Orange. Listen, folks, this is one of those games I think at the beginning of the year nobody thought would have any. It wouldn't matter whatsoever. I don't think that they thought it would have any importance. But you're talking about a Perry team that, with a win over Orange, could potentially jump right back into that number 1, number 2 seed in the region because of the points that they're getting from beating Orange. On the Orange side of things, Orange, with a comeback win over Harvey last week, they are right back on the horse after falling down to the Jefferson Falcons. If they come over and they beat Perry, Orange is set for the playoffs right now. Going to be a good game. I think Perry, you got to favorite them right now. I think Walter Moses is just that guy. But definitely a game worth watching. All the games that we talked about right now, you're going to be able to find right here on your home for high school sports here on ysnlive.com. The announcers will all be there. It's going to be a great week of football. I can't wait to see how some of these games are going to go. I think this could definitely be a turning point for a lot of teams in this area. It's been a rough start for most of the teams in Ashtabula County, but with a rough start, sometimes you got to get a kick in the pants to get things going in the right way. And this could serve as that for a couple different teams this week. We'll be back again next week right here live at the Crow's Nest for the 440 Sports Show. This one brought to you by Sposito Insurance, and thank you to the Crow's Nest for hosting us. Make sure you check us out on Wednesday as we do the Lake Show live from Los Compadres, where we talk about all things Lakeside football. My name is Sam Torres. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. And as always, folks, this is for the 440.
This for the 440. This for the fofo. For the city and the back roads, got a whole county full of them goats. All from the fofo and that goat. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmetto Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcon. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewell got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And Connie, I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the fofo. This for the fofo.